If you travel to the Italian city of Pisa, in the heart of Tuscany, you'll come across one of the world's most unusual landmarks. A massive tower standing in the middle of the Square of Miracles. At first glance, it looks like a grand bell tower, but with one strange detail: it's leaning. And if you've ever seen tourists there, you've probably noticed one thing. Everyone takes the same photo. They pose as if they're holding up the tower with their hands, trying to stop it from falling. The building they're all saving, of course, is none other than the world-famous Leaning Tower of Pisa. But why does it lean? Why hasn't it collapsed after so many centuries? And what does Galileo have to do with it? Let's uncover the fascinating story. The birth of the tower. Construction began in 1173 AD. Originally, the tower was never intended to be a tourist attraction. It was simply meant to be the bell tower for Pisa's cathedral. The architects designed it in stunning Romanesque style, with 8 stories built entirely from white marble. For the first few years, everything seemed perfect. The structure was upright and stable. But by the time workers finished the 3rd floor, something went wrong. The tower began to tilt. The soil beneath Pisa turned out to be soft and unstable, almost sponge-like, unable to handle the tower's enormous weight of more than 14,500 tons. Work was halted for nearly 100 years as builders debated what to do. Failed fixes and creative solutions. When construction resumed in 1272, engineers attempted to fix the problem by building the next floors slightly taller on one side, hoping to counterbalance the lean. Instead of solving the issue, it only made the tilt worse. By the time the 8th and final story was completed in 1372, the tower stood 56 meters tall and tilted about 5 degrees. Heavy bronze bells, each weighing up to 3 tons, were added, putting even more strain on the fragile foundation. Surprisingly, despite centuries of patchwork, attempts, and additional weight, the tower never collapsed. Why the lean was impossible to fix. The real issue was always the soil. In the early years, the problem could have been solved by reinforcing the ground and rebuilding from scratch. But once the upper floors were added, correcting the tilt became nearly impossible, even with modern technology. In fact, during Mussolini's rule in the 20th century, workers tried to straighten it by pouring concrete into its base. Instead of helping, the tower sank even deeper, leaning further than before. Finally, in 1964, Italy asked experts from around the world to find a solution. Their conclusion? The tower could never be fully straightened. The best they could do was stabilize it in its tilted state to prevent collapse. From 1990 to 2001, engineers carefully removed soil, added counterweights, and reinforced its foundation. Their efforts worked. The tower is now stable enough to last at least another 300 years. The Lucky Tower. The Leaning Tower has been called the Lucky Tower for a reason. Not only did it survive centuries of engineering mistakes, but it also narrowly escaped destruction during World War II. American forces had orders to demolish towers in Pisa to prevent snipers from using them. But for reasons still debated, when it came to the Leaning Tower, the order was withdrawn, sparing its life once again. Galileo's famous experiment. One of the most famous stories connected to the tower involves the scientist Galileo Galilei, who was born in Pisa. At the time, people believed that heavy objects fall faster than lighter ones. Galileo challenged this idea. Legend says that he climbed the Leaning Tower, dropped 2 balls of different weights, and proved they hit the ground simultaneously, showing that gravity affects objects equally regardless of mass. Whether the story is 100% true or not, it became one of the most iconic tales associated with the tower. Is it one of the 7 wonders? Many people believe the Leaning Tower of Pisa is one of the 7 wonders of the world. The truth? It's not. The 7 wonders of the ancient world included the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the statue of Zeus, the Temple of Artemis, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. The Leaning Tower doesn't appear on either the ancient or modern list. But honestly, that doesn't matter. Today, it remains one of the most visited and beloved landmarks on Earth, admired not for perfection, but for its flaws. Its tilt turned out to be the very reason it became famous. And maybe that's the lesson of Pisa's Leaning Tower. Sometimes, what looks like a mistake can end up making something unforgettable.